Found. A hospital gown hung loosely over his body as he pushed me aside in the urgent care waiting room and ran out onto the street. Before that, I stood between him and the sliding glass doors. The patients sat in cushioned chairs, waiting to be called back with their persistent palpitations, their twisted knees. They stared at us, expectant. Before that, he asked the security guard stationed just outside his room if they could do anything if he decided to leave. The guard said nothing, only looked up from scrolling his phone. Before that, my husband told me, "I'll wait until 10 p.m., then I'm out of here." Before that, I poked my head out into the hallway and grabbed a nurse, begging her to get my husband some Ativan. I could tell he was getting more agitated with the long wait, nearly 6 hours. She looked down at me before she said, "I'll see what I can do, but it might be a while." I understood. I was dismissed. Before that, I sat on a folding chair I had moved into the gap of the exam room doorway. My breast pump and half-eaten teriyaki takeout boxes were stuffed under my chair. I pressed my purse and glass bottles of root beer against my chest. My husband was lying on the exam table, arm draped over his forehead. Before that, he pulled my iPhone cord out of his sock. "What are you doing?" I asked, puzzled at first, then unfolding alarm. "Nothing, just playing around," he said. "There's nothing to do here. It's boring." He gestured to the empty exam room, devoid of any months-old People magazines, no public health posters on the walls, drawers lacking even a tongue depressor or Band-Aid. He was right. It was boring, empty for a reason. Before that, we sat in the spare exam room, me shoveling tofu yakisoba into my mouth. I kept offering him food, chicken gyoza and root beer, his favorite. He refused with a low grunt, turned his face away from me, toward the blank wall. Before that, he shuffled in his foam-bottom socks from the bathroom across the hall, shoulder to shoulder with the security guard. Before that, I returned from grabbing dinner to find an empty exam room. My throat constricted with a familiar refrain as I flailed around, searching for him, looking for anyone. Before that, I heard my stomach rumble, though it didn't feel like hunger, more like an empty reservoir that needed to be filled. I told myself I should probably eat. I grabbed my wallet and crossed the street to Teriyaki Madness. Before that, the social worker came to tell us she was still working on finding him a hospital bed, but both the University of Washington and Harborview were full. He might need to be placed somewhere farther away, like Tacoma or Olympia. "What about Overlake?" we said in near unison. The place he was hospitalized 2 months prior, with the full-wall murals of pastoral scenes with the fancy cheese plates. Overlake? Oh, Overlake. "I haven't tried there yet. I'll call them now." She must be new. Another time, another situation, we might have looked at each other and laughed. Before that, I pulled the nursing cover over my head, assembled the plastic pieces of the pumping apparatus with the automaticity of a person who had done this every few hours for many months with 3 babies over the last 5 years, who could do this in the days of near sleep, on a packed airplane, in a hotel bathroom at a medical conference. The familiar whir and squeeze as the machine beat with a regular cadence. No milk came. Before that, I burst into the exam room where the social worker sat with my husband, quizzing him about his medical history, a story he had already told 5 times that day. Before that, he called me on my cell phone as I paced in the basement of our home. He told me he was sorry he ran away from the clinic visit with the doctor. He needed help. I was so relieved. He was found. I rushed out to meet him in urgent care.
My name is Karen Miller. I'm a songwriter from Tacoma. I read Mary Pan's Found and Valentine's Day and was inspired to write this song about her relationship with her husband, who has bipolar disorder, and their experience trying to find a hospital bed while he was in an episode. As a person with bipolar disorder myself, I really connected to the situation, and I also really found her description of what it's like for someone who doesn't have bipolar to try to understand someone who does. And the line from her work that I really got connected with was being both and. That we're all a little bit of both and. So this song is inspired by that work, and it's called Saint Valentine. Security guard on his phone as you run into the street. Still wet from rain seeping through your socks. Outdated magazines. Saint Valentine, physician and a priest. Here in the hospital waiting room, I wonder what he means to me. Aren't we all both, and aren't we all both, and aren't we all both, and a little bit of everything. Nearly 6 hours have gone by, waiting for you to get some help. I think about your highs and lows and wonder when you're truly yourself. Saint Valentine, physician and a priest. Here in the hospital waiting room, I wonder what he means to me. Aren't we all both, and aren't we all both, and aren't we all both, and a little bit of everything. You hide the highs, bury the lows. That's the way this story goes. Who we are, no one knows, but can you ever really know someone? Can you ever really know someone? And aren't we all both, and aren't we all both, and aren't we all both, and a little bit of everything. Oh, we're both, and aren't we all